Hello everyone, welcome to Tech 123. In this video, we will understand what are the fundamentals of quantity takeoff. We will accomplish 4 course objectives in this video. First one, we will be introduced about the process of completing the takeoff, and we will review what are the various steps involved in performing quantity takeoff. And we will study about the work packages, what is the importance of work packages, and how you can divide the work into various work packages. And we will also understand what is the importance of considering wastages in estimates. So what is a quantity takeoff? Quantity takeoff is the process where an estimator prepares a complete list of all building components that need to be constructed to complete the project. So what comprises of quantity takeoff? It has 2 main components. The first one, it includes the components that will be part of the building, like excavation, concrete footing, slab on grade. So these are the components that will be part of the building project. And we will also include the job site and direct overheads. In the first week of this course, we discussed about the overheads or the cost of the head office and the cost that will be incurred to the contractor to maintain a job site office, and other indirect expenses will also be part of quantity takeoff. What are the most common units we find in quantity takeoff? Or we can see the volumetric units like concrete and excavation, where we measure what is the length, width and depth to excavate or place concrete, and we are estimating or taking off the quantities in terms of cubic yards or cubic feet. So that is the volumetric. And we also do quantity takeoff in linear feet. For example, the wood trim required for the building, or what is the length of the fencing. So we measure the quantities in linear feet. And we also have the square feet, like finishing jobs, as well as the building paper, ceramic tiles. We talk about how many the rolls of material is required, or what is the quantity in square feet. Then we also have the board feet. We do it for the formwork and the woodworks, where our measurements will be in the board feet. And we also have in acres, when we do the clearing and grubbing or landscaping, we measure the site not in square feet, but mostly if it's a big project, in acres. And we also have a unit called each item. For example, if we are measuring the number of windows in the house, so we measure by each quantities. So counted items like HVAC system, windows, doors. So that is also part of the quantity takeoff, where our measurements are each. And we also have a unit month. It is not the part of any material, but if you are renting an equipment, we will look for how many months we require an equipment, or how many months we have to hire a office, site construction office, or a trailer for the office, or temporary power. So we have some measurements in terms of months, and some of the time our estimates might be lump sum. Especially if you are giving our contract to subcontractors, we go by lump sum. Means to finish one activity, the lump sum, you can understand all the plumbing works might be combined and say it as one lump sum item. So these are various types of measurements. This is not the exclusive list. There might be new items, but these are the most common items we use for estimating or taking off our quantity takeoff. Understanding the unit of measurement helps the estimator to what to look for in the drawings. For example, if the estimator knows the unit of a finishing is square feet, he will look for what is the area, what is the length and width. If the unit of measurement is volumetric, like cubic yard, the estimator looks for what is the length, width and depth of a particular item. Let us look into how the quantity takeoff happens. So the successful estimators build the construction project in his or her mind while recording the materials, equipment, labor task needed to complete the project. So the estimator is the first person who virtually creates the picture how the project looks like. The estimator normally begins at the bottom of the building and constructs it from the ground up. When an estimator understands the project in their mind, they typically starts from the bottom of the project. Like first they start with the excavation, then the footings, the foundation, and so forth, so that building can be virtually created in their mind. So that is the reason for this course. We start with the excavation, then we go with the footings, concrete work, and so forth. We will see some examples on real takeoffs so you can understand it better. So as estimator starts working on any projects, the estimator will divide the work into various packages. So the estimator performs the quantity takeoff. The materials, equipment, and labors must be divided into work packages. At a minimum, the quantity takeoff should be broken down by the job codes or the specifications that were given in the project. So the estimators develop or take off the quantities, whether it's a material, equipment, or labor, according to the job codes or according to the specifications. So a single job may be broken down into multiple work packages because the materials are ordered at different times. For example, if you are looking into placing concrete, so placing concrete might be a single item, but it can be done in footings, foundations, slab on grade. So these three events happen at different point of time in the project. So this can be our work package. So this inside to place concrete can be a work package, and we make the takeoffs according to the work. But within the work package, we can further divide that work package into smaller packages like footings. For example, this project have 500 cubic yards of concrete, 200 cubic yards of concrete goes into footings. So that happens at the beginning of the project. Then we have some foundations that happens next week. And slab on grade maybe some 100 cubic yards, which happens at 2 weeks after we do the footings. So this helps us to divide the work and also helps the estimator or the project manager when to order materials in the project. Once the estimator divides the work into various work packages, the estimator may begin the takeoff of the quantities required for that each work package. So the quantity takeoff can involve 3 or 4 items. One is the material, how many cubic yards or cubic yards of concrete is required, and it can also measure how much is the labor required for that particular work package, as well as the equipment required for the packages. And some quantity takeoffs, we do it for giving the work to a subcontractor or a specialty contractor. For example, all the carpet work in a housing project or the floor work for a housing project can be subcontracted to an expert in that area. Or the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing work can also be given to a specialty contractor. So when we subcontract the work, the main contractor will also make a quantity takeoff such that he understands whether the subcontractor is bidding for too much or he is missing any item, or if any subcontractor have any questions, they can ask the main estimator and he clarifies what assumptions they can make. So even the work is given to a subcontractor, the main contractor or the main estimator still makes an estimate of how much time, money, labor, or equipment is required for that particular job. Once the estimator finishes all the work packages, he or she will make a 1 or 2 page summary of all the work packages, including the price to complete, such that it will give a complete picture of the project. Even though the estimators makes an accurate estimate, still that quantities are not sufficient to finish the projects. In most of the projects, it's not sufficient because some of the materials are lost because of waste. So there are different kinds of waste. The first one is unavoidable waste. So this happens because of the design or some other factors where you cannot avoid that waste. For example, all the carpets comes in 12 feet sizes. And if the room is only 10 feet size where you have to lay the carpet, so 2 feet of the material is a wastage material. So that is unavoidable because the standard sizes are not available in 10 foot. And there is certain waste we can avoid in the construction through good construction practices. So for every project, when an estimator makes an estimate, he will or she will consider an waste factor depending upon the type of work, the type of project, as well as their previous experience, and the wastages in most of the time will be somewhere between 5 to 8%. Again, depends upon various factors. So a waste factor is often added to the quantities to account for avoidable waste as well as the unavoidable waste that has not already been included. So whatever, for example, we make an estimate of 500 cubic yards of concrete, maybe a 5% wastage means around 25 cubic yards can get into waste. So the waste factor is often expressed as a percentage of the calculated waste. So whenever we make a quantity takeoff, we have to consider certain waste factor to get more accurate estimate. In conclusion, a well-organized estimate not only increases the chances of winning the bid, but it also helps when we start actually working in the field. And it also acts as a guide to make sure the project is completed within budget. So the estimation not only benefits in getting the project, but it also have benefits after we get the project and in completion of the project. The easiest way to understand whether your work is organized or not is to think about, even if you're in your absence, can the document speak or your estimate can speak by itself? That means if someone else pick it up and make a little reading about the specifications, can he or she will be able to complete the task? That is how you can define that you made a very good organized estimate. And while you are making the estimate, it is important to make a note of everything that you made in that estimate that supports that estimate. For example, you should need to document what are the assumptions you made in the estimate. If you make any phone conversations with material suppliers or engineer or architect, you have to make a summary of what conversation happened. Estimator notes gives good insights for the project manager and the crew who are actually working in the project. Thank you for your attention. In the next video, we will look into a real construction estimate.